I was lost. It was already dusk. I had been driving for hours and was practically out of petrol. The idea of being stranded on these lonely hills in the dark appalled me, so I was glad to see a signpost and coast down to a garage. When I opened a window to speak to the attendant, the air outside was so cold that I turned up my collar. While he was filling the tank, he commented on the weather. "Never known such cold in this month. Forecast says we're in for a real bad freeze-up." Most of my life was spent abroad, soldiering, or exploring remote areas. But although I had just come from the tropics, and freeze-ups meant little to me, I was struck by the ominous sound of his words. Anxious to get on, I asked the way to the village I was making for. "You'll never find it in the dark. It's right off the beaten track, and those hill roads are dangerous when they're iced up." He seemed to imply that only a fool would drive on under present conditions, which rather annoyed me. So cutting short his involved directions, I paid him and drove away, ignoring his last warning shout. "Look out for that ice!" It had got quite dark by now, and I was soon more hopelessly lost than ever. I knew I should have listened to the fellow, but at the same time wished I had not spoken to him at all. For some unknown reason, his remarks had made me uneasy. They seemed a bad omen for the whole expedition, and I began to regret having embarked on it. I had been doubtful about the trip all along. I had arrived only the previous day, and should have been attending to things in town instead of visiting friends in the country. I myself did not understand my compulsion to see this girl, who had been in my thoughts all the time I was away, although she was not the reason for my return. I had come back to investigate rumours of a mysterious impending emergency in this part of the world. But as soon as I got here, she became an obsession. I could think only of her, felt I must see her immediately. Nothing else mattered. Of course, I knew it was utterly irrational, and so was my present uneasiness. No harm was likely to come to me in my own country, and yet I was becoming more and more anxious as I drove on.